Urban Harvest here. You got problems with squash vine borers and they eating all your squash and all your cucumbers, you can't get not a now looking none? I think I got a solution for you. Come check it out. I got all my various vining vegetables on this trellis. I got my Malabar spinach right over here, doing good. The hotter it gets, the better it gets. Then I got my cucumbers, which have been doing really good lately, getting 2, 3, 4 cucumbers a day. And this is just one cucumber plant. One of the problems I've had last year, and I no longer have this problem, is squash vine borers. And they're all over the YouTube posts. You can read about them and so forth. So the question is, how do you protect yourself against squash vine borers? If you look closely, what happens is squash vine borers, they're a particular moth, they lay their eggs, their eggs hatch, and they start climbing or gnawing, getting inside of the stalk, and they eat their way up through the stalk and essentially killing the plant. Now they only really attack plants with hollow stems, so certain varieties of squash, certain varieties of pumpkins, varieties with tougher stems or solid stems seem to be resistant. But here's a few things that I do to protect myself against squash vine borers. Number one, I start my cucumbers inside, get them nice and healthy, and as soon as I take them outside and I pot them, I put a layer of fabric down, cut a little slit in it, then I put a thick heavy layer of mulch. Sometimes I even do mulch, fabric, then mulch. And what that does is it keeps the moths from laying the eggs, and it keeps the eggs from getting in the soil and climbing their way up through the soil and through the stem. Second thing to do, you can simply paint the stem with a 50-50 acrylic paint. And what that just will keep them from getting into the stem and boring their way up through the stem. And just as it grows, you'll have to keep painting that stem a couple inches up from the soil. Now if you don't want to use paint, I've seen people use foil and they wrap it around the stems, essentially keeping the borers out of there. And those 3 tactics honestly has kept me to where I'm getting cucumbers every single day, and so far no vine borer damage. I'm going to do the same thing with my bitter melon. As you can see, no damage. Stem looks good. At least I don't think there's any damage yet. Well, you know what? Actually, maybe some damage right there. Now, if you do have caterpillars starting to lay eggs, you start to see a lot of moths, you can spray with BT. But once they get already inside of your stem, the only other option is to, I've heard people either cut the vine borer out or inject BT into the stem. Those are just a few ways that you can protect your squash against the vine borers. Remember, gardening don't gotta be complicated or expensive. Just get out and grow something.